Yeah. MD. JPB. It's only right, baby.
Yeah. Why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this. Damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of Otis, and I'm back here with another video. And today I'm doing part 2 of What If Deku Had Mechamru's powers unstoppable. And we're gonna get right into it. The next video will be what if Naruto had the the Eyes of the Lord. But I guess at this point, I might as well just call it the Zenshogun. But yeah, I think it's gonna be the last part. Hopefully it is. You know, I'm gonna wrap up everything. Yeah, let's get into this part. So the basic setting of what happened to Deku in this story is that he started off being an orphan, and through years and years of abuse, he unlocked his quirk and he joins UA. And usually, while he hides his face and uses Mechamru, he came to UA with his own body, and he gets first place for UA standings, like in the exams, by defeating the Zero Pointer and saving Uraraka and getting a bunch more like villain points before. And then he takes first place, obviously. Easily for the apprehension test, and he also wins when he fights Bakugo, and that's about it. To know more, just watch the last part yourself, because it's stupid to start with the second part anyway. Now let's begin. So the next day when students show up, they are met by reporters who ask them about All Might, and as Deku walks up, the female reporter would ask, "Oh, excuse me, can you tell us anything about All Might?" Huh? Me? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't personally know the guy. I just admire him. Anything else I tell you will be pretty inaccurate. Well, that is true, the female reporter would say, and Deku says, "Okay, well, that's all then, take care. But you might want to leave unless you want to deal with Aizawa-sensei." Deku then leaves as he says this, and like he said, Aizawa came up to the reporters and gave him a chance to leave, but they didn't listen, so he activated the UA barrier, just locking them out. After this, class goes like usual, with Aizawa giving everyone what he thought, telling everyone about what he thought, you know, how well they did in their battles yesterday, and he says they did pretty good. And he says, "You, Midoriya, how far is your range of your quirk? I saw the recordings." I don't know, it's about like 1 mile, sir." Siu then says, "No wonder, I was surprised when you caught Ida off guard like that. Must have been so scary." Ida would then say, "It was indeed quite frightening, but effective." Aizawa then says, "Well, anyway, I'll give you more detailed reports later, but right now, we need to pick a class president." So everyone, of course, wants to be president, but Ida calms everyone down and makes them, you know, deal with this democratically, meaning they have to vote. And in the end, Deku and Momo are made president and vice president, and Deku would say, "I would like to give my spot to Ida." And the entire class is surprised, but Deku said, "I'm only good at leading my puppets, not people. I'll leave it to Ida since he's clearly the one who cares most about this job, and he'll do even better." Ida would then say, "Midoriya, no. Do not say that just for my sake. The class has chosen." And Deku would think, "But I wasn't just saying it." Now, for now, Deku's going to stay president, although he wants this to change. And during lunch, Ida reveals what family he's from, and this is when the sirens go off, and Ida still calms everyone down, and it's safe to say that after this, everyone agrees that Ida should be president. And, yeah, Momo stays as vice president, though. And then after another day passes, of course, Ida is happy because he's, you know, the class president now. He starts his own duties, such as telling people to get on the bus and making sure they all get in when they head to the USJ. And everyone on the bus talks about what their quirks are, and Kirishima would say, "Man, I wish I had a quirk like yours, Midoriya. You can even give yourself robot hands and stuff. There's like a lot of flashy moves you can do." Deku would then say, "Well, if we're talking flashy, you can't ignore Bakugo and Todoroki." Siu then says, "Yeah, but Bakugo has a horrible personality. It makes it hard to compliment him at all." "What the hell did you say?" he would yell, with Siu then pointing to him as she would then say, "See?" And this only makes Bakugo more mad as Deku chuckles, and everyone just basically starts teasing and roasting him. Like Kirishima, Kaminari, they really go in. But Todoroki stays quiet, but he has his eyes on Deku. Soon they make it to the USJ, and 13 shows them around the area, and Sato will be saying, "Wow, this place is huge. There's even a forest area?" 13 would then say, "Yeah, we have spots for every kind of scenario you can think of, and there are even more things inside. This place is like kind of a maze." So soon they stop atop the stairs, and 13 says, "The USJ will help you control yourself. I know we all want to save people, but our quirks can be dangerous. Mine, while helpful, can also hurt. So remember, while you don't want to inflict pain, we can. Every hero knows this." The heroes then nod as Deku remembers what he did to his last foster dad, and he knows this applies to him. the most by far, but he still wants to be a hero, of course. And 13 then thanks them for listening, as Aizawa is then about to tell them what they're gonna do, when he and everyone then hear a warping noise. They then all look down the stairs to see a portal open up as the lights then go off, and through the portal Shigaraki walks out, and Kirishima would say, "This place has fake villains too? No, those are real villains. Huddle up and don't move," Aizawa would say, as the students then listen, and Deku then opens up his arms, summoning puppets that surround everyone, crawling out of the the ground itself. And Aizawa would say, "Good, Midoriya. Keep those up. 13, help protect them." Aizawa then puts on his special, goggles, as villains then start to flood the area, making everyone realize how serious this actually is. And these people have no regard for their lives. Even from atop, they can sense their bloodlust. And Momo would say, "But how? Aren't there sensors?" Todoroki then said it must be, one of them canceling the the power out, and asking if there's any way they can call the school for help, or if they're blocking that too. 13 then actually tries to call the school, but it doesn't work, and she lets everyone know this. So Aizawa tells Kaminari to try to put the power back with his quirk, as electricity, and that, he will attack the villains. And Deku says, "Sensei, let me help you. I don't even need to move from this spot, please. We can't fight them all alone." Aizawa then says that he cannot, let him do that, because he doesn't know how good Deku is when it comes to different type of villains, and also, no villain is a one-trick pony, and he definitely has some tricks that can help him. And he jumps down the stairs saying this, and surprisingly starts to beat up all the villains with relative ease. Even if he can't cancel out some of their quirks, it doesn't matter. He's just built different. So as he's fighting, the group tries to evacuate, but the portal appears in front of them as it then forms into Kurogiri, who then speaks. "Sorry, I'm afraid I can't let you leave." 13 then goes to attack when Deku's puppets then latch onto Kurogiri and punch his tangible parts, and Deku would say, "Don't let up. Someone land another blow on him and aim for the metallic part." Bakugo and Kirishima then rush forward as the puppet then moves out of the way, and they simultaneously attack, blowing back Kurogiri. He would say, "Not bad, but that won't stop me." This is when Todoroki then walks out and slams his hand into the ground, creating a huge barrage of icicles to launch at Kurogiri, but he teleports behind everyone in an instant, and they can't keep up as they are swallowed up by his darkness. And as Deku opens his eyes, he is falling down into the flood zone, meaning he's falling into water. Shit, knew it. As he touches the water, it rises up, catching him as he then flies into the air on a water bird puppet. And he would then hear his voice being called out as he looks at the ship, and then from the ship he sees Suyu jumping towards him while holding Mineta, and so he flies over and catches the two, and Mineta would say, "Thanks, Midoriya." Suyu would then ask, "Is this puppet stable?" And Deku says he doesn't know because he's never made a water puppet before, but since they're already close to leaving the zone, it'll be fine. So the bird flies back to the normal area, and they jump off, landing down, and Mineta with a happy look would say, "We made it. Whew. Hey, there are some kids here," one of the villains would say as they turn their attention to the three, and Aizawa sees this as, they attack them, but as he's about to stop their quirks, the villains are bashed and clawed by the stone puppet wolves, as Deku has made 4 of them, and he would say, "Bring it on." This kid's actually pretty good. Guys. Be on guard. Aizawa then smiles, seeing this as he thinks, "Good, looks like you know what you're actually doing." So all separated, the students fight and beat some villains, either with teamwork or with just pure power like Deku, Todoroki, Bakugo, Tokoyami, Sato, the powerful practical quirks, or Ojiro. Mineta also uses his sticky balls to confuse and stick the villains together, while Suyu kicks the hell out of them or just flings them into the water zone with her tongue, while Deku just backs them up from behind using his puppets to just knock them out. Like when Deku uses his quirk, these puppets pop out of the ground, or they just form, so when they attack, you cannot keep up. So since his quirk works the way it does in this timeline, the entire area is a trap. And however, this is when they start to catch Shigaraki's attention as he starts to itch, and it is not good when Shigaraki starts to itch. As Shigaraki starts to approach them, however, Suyu is distracted as he almost touches her, but as he's about to, he is grabbed as Suyu turns around shocked and backs away as Shigaraki tries to struggle free from a stone puppet that fully comes out of the ground and then uppercuts him before then sending a hook to his temple and then kicking him in the stomach. This hurts Shigaraki a lot because he's hit by literal stone and a lot of force, and he actually starts to bleed as some of his hands fall off his face, and he would say, "That hurt a lot. You made a big mistake, kid. Nomu." The gigantic Nomu then walks up behind Shigaraki, who points to Deku, telling him to kill him, and instantly Aizawa takes care of the villains and runs to him and the students, and Mineta would say, "What is that thing? Is it even human?" The Nomu then takes a step as Aizawa's scarf is wrapped around its neck, and Aizawa tries to pull it, but it doesn't work, and the Nomu is then punched in the face, actually, making its neck just twist as everyone then looks up to see a giant version of Mechamru. and Deku would say, "Go, Ultra Mechamru," and Nomu's neck, however, quickly twists back into place, shocking them all, as it then rips off Aizawa's scarf and launches at Ultra Mechamru and punches it, but it blocks the punch. However, its arms get busted a bit, and Deku would say, "Guys, get out of here, I'm barely holding him back." Nomu then keeps punching and punching Mechamru, who keeps blocking, and Mineta would be asking like, "This isn't good," but he just says to go right now. And so Suyu grabs Mineta and jumps away, as he tells us to stop, but she says, "It's okay." Midoriya is smiling. He has something up his sleeve. Mineta then turns to see he is smiling, and this is when the Nomu punches again, and Mechamru grabs both his arms, as it then opens his mouth, readying a blast. "Those blasts are formed from my pure hate. You tried to kill my new classmates, so you can imagine how screwed you are." A giant explosion then occurs as the Nomu's head is engulfed by a huge ray of heat that Aizawa and Shigaraki barely get out of the way of before getting blown away. Even after, getting out of the way, the wind pressure just pushes them back a lot. And Aizawa looks behind him to then see the ground almost cracked in two. It is literally cracked in two for, miles across the USJ. And he would then think he must have used everything he had. Now, a little flashback. A few minutes later, back before the blast happened, this is what happened. Some of the students, who had escaped where they were at this point, ran down the stairs, and since most of the villains were gone anyway, they want to go and help, the others out, because they also saw Deku was struggling. And this is when Kurogiri gets in their way again, and he would say, "Seems like your Professor 13 isn't holding on." Uraka then yells to everyone that 13 is gravely injured, and Kurogiri asks what they're going to do now. He would then say, "Your friend's going to die if you don't get past me," and Kirishima says, "Then that's fine. Midoriya is real manly. He wouldn't lose to that thing." However, as he says this, they hear a massive crack, as Nomu's punch has just cratered Ultra Mechamru's legs into the ground, while Midoriya is right behind the Mechamru, and the students are getting real worried, and Kurogiri would say, "That creature was engineered to beat All Might, so don't compare yourselves to it." But this is when the explosion goes off, shaking the place, and everyone then sees the Nomu fall over, missing its head, and actually dying, as Ultra Mechamru then goes back inside Deku, and he wobbles a bit as he sees blood drip to his clothes, and he touches his nose, saying, "Shit, I used too much power." Deku then falls over, but to everyone's shock, he is caught by All Might as he has just arrived, and Kurogiri is slammed away by a punch of his, and he already got, he already took care of all the villains as soon as he entered, very quickly, and Aizawa looks up surprised. "All Might? How did you know?" All Might then turns and opens up his hand, showing one of Deku's bird puppets, and he would say, "It came to me while I was rescuing people, and told me what happened. You're a good student, Aizawa." Shigaraki then sees this all happen and loses it as he starts scratching himself for real more than ever, and he would just be wondering how the hell Deku did all that was supposed to be All Might, and he just beat it with one attack. Kurogiri then appears behind Shigaraki and grabs him, as he would then say, "We cannot stay any longer, young master. We'll meet again, All Might." He then disappears with the portal, and All Might is annoyed that they got away, but he's happy that Deku is fine. Mineta and Suyu then run over. Wait a minute. Mineta and Suyu then run over asking if Deku is okay, and Aizawa then walks over saying he finally reached his limit with his quirk. But don't worry, he should be fine. This is such a mess. The ambulance and the other heroes then eventually come and take Deku away, while reporters who also arrive try to get information on what happened, and teachers don't really say anything, and this leads them to find things on their own, and they don't really get much, and the teachers aren't trying to put pressure on Deku so much more than he's already had to deal with. But one thing the news is, knows that's obvious is that Deku was hurt trying to save his classmates, and that's very admirable, but also says something about how UA is conducting their business according to them. So when Deku wakes up, he's in Recovery Girl's office at UA, and he opens his eyes to see All Might and Aizawa waiting for him, and he would ask, "Did I fall asleep?" "You did a lot more than that," Aizawa would say, and Deku says, "Sorry, Sensei, but it all worked out in the end, right?" He then sits up, even though All Might says he shouldn't, and he says, "It's fine, my quirk helps me heal fast too." "Oh yeah, Recovery Girl did say you were much less hurt than you should be." Deku then gets out of bed asking where he is, and he is told he's at UA, and that right now he was to go home and take a break for 2 days, and Deku would say, "Oh okay, I'm late for work anyway." "Oh, you work?" Deku then nods, saying that if he had extra time, he always worked and he has extra time, so he better go now. "What about everyone else? Are they okay? I don't really remember much." All Might then says, they're fine, and he thanks him for telling him, even if it was in secret. And Deku said he only did his best, and he's then discharged and given his uniform, and he, goes home and back to work, actually. And when he does, Aizawa then hands All Might a picture, and he would be wide-eyed and completely terrified. What is "What is it?" All Might would ask, and Aizawa just says, "Just look." All Might then opens up and sees the picture, and his eyes widen in complete shock. He just cannot believe what he's looking at. His body. Did his parents do this? Aizawa then shakes his head, saying the kid's an orphan, and All Might only gets more worried. This is detestable. Is he secure? Aizawa then says he's actually getting by pretty much because of his quirk, and he's allowed to use it. So he gets all types of jobs all over in the area, and All Might at this point is stumped, not knowing how to handle Deku, and the same goes for Aizawa. So during the 2-day break, the teachers investigate, and soon everyone is back in class, and everyone is just asking Deku if he's okay, and he would say, "I'm fine, don't worry, I'm fine." Another then hugs him while crying, saying, "Dude, I thought you died or something." And Sato says, "Are you sure you should be back in school? You know, that puppet you used was huge." Deku then says, "I got healed fast, but I can't use that puppet for a while. I tired out a bit, and other than that, I'm fine, don't worry." Bakugo then says, "Well, good, but next time I'm taking the lead, got it? I mean, this isn't a competition," Bakugo Kirishima would say. As Aizawa then enters the room and everyone sits down, and he says, "I know what just happened was huge, but that's the reason why you can't relax. Your fight isn't over yet." Everyone then gets nervous because of what happened, and what he says next sounds tough, and he says they'll be doing the sports festival, but then, they think it's pretty ordinary, but Aizawa reiterates that it's not a normal festival, and it's type where you can use quirks, and they realize what he's talking about, and the one that's broadcasted to the entire nation, they've all seen it before. And Kaminari would then say, "So we're basically applying to be sidekicks." Aizawa then nods, saying, "Naturally, this will give you a lot of experience and opportunity to show the pros what you're made of, and this only happens once a year, so go all out." So they all say okay, and head to their next class, which is modern literature taught by Cementos, before then heading to lunch. And before they head out, everyone is just talking about how cool the festival will be, and excited that they're, going to be going to it. And in the corner, Deku was just taking care of, Mechamru, because he's Mechamru transformed into Ultra Mechamru, so he's pretty busted up again. And Deku would say, "Sorry buddy, I kind of messed you up again. Is he okay?" Deku then turns to see Bakugo as he says, "No, his arms are more busted than before, but I can fix it, but I really need to learn how to deal with this permanently." He then unsummons him, asking Bakugo if he still felt bitter about losing, to which he scoffs at, saying, "I found a way to change." He then unsummons him, asking Bakugo if he still felt bitter about losing to him, to which he scoffs at, saying, "I found a way to damage your so-called precious puppet, so don't take me so lightly next time." "But you're the one who took me lightly." "Just shut up," Bakugo would say. Anyway, everyone gets to lunch, have some fun, and go back to class, and get ready to leave, only to realize that the door is crowded by other students, basically stopping them from moving forward, and Ruraku will be yelling, "What's going on here?" Deku then gets out of his seat, getting ready to go, and thinks that this is going to get annoying, and he says, "I really need some peace and quiet right now." Bakugo then walks up saying, "Oh, and move aside, cannon fodder, we ain't got time for you, and Deku would say, "Can we not do this today? Just try to act like a normal person for once. Just tell them to leave respectfully." He doesn't agree, saying that's, really rude to say, when Shinso then walks out from the crowd, and he would say, "If all the Hero Course kids are like this, then I'm pretty disappointed." "And who the hell are you?" Bakugo would ask, and Shinso says that does not matter, as he looks at Deku, saying, "So he's the one who got the top score, right? Apparently you took down the 0-pointer. Tell me, Mr. Number 1, what do you think happens if you guys do bad in the festival?" "Yeah, I don't have time for this," he would say, as he walks past everyone, every one of his classmates, and walks past Shinso, who says underestimating them is a bad idea. "I've never underestimated anyone, but I'm busy. Unlike you, I don't have an easy life, so don't compare my struggles to yours. If you want to come to the Hero Course, then stop bitching and go train." He then shoves his way through the crowd and leaves, with the other students thinking he's simply irritated, which is fair because of all that he's gone through. Although it is not know that he has played a big part, he protected his classmates, which is pretty, straining when he had to fight villains, but you know what I mean. So after 2 weeks pass, everyone is working, getting stronger, because they want to become, stronger for themselves, and they don't want Deku to, have to Deku sacrifice to go in vain. And Deku also tries to go get stronger, but he finds it hard to. He actually can't advance anymore, and he finds it frustrating. But he does figure out new strategies, and he's still pretty strong. It doesn't really matter. He's just at a block right now. So the day soon comes with different classes of UA students getting in different waiting rooms. And when you go to class 1A, as Deku was honestly just sleeping, and everyone is surprised as Ida says, "It's expected of Midoriya." Ruka says, I think he might just be tired, but still, I would be nervous as hell. And Kirishima says, "You guys remember how much the ground shook when that blast went off?" Everyone then freezes as Todoroki turns his attention to Kirishima, who says, I don't know about you guys, but I was scared out of my mind. Midoriya could have actually died. Next time it could be one of us, you know? Bakugo then says, then just don't die. I don't see what the big deal is. He doesn't seem worried about it. Why are you? They all then look at Deku, who is peacefully sleeping, and simply agree that they have to get stronger so something like this doesn't happen again. And this is when they are called out. Deku is then woken up by Bakugo, and they head out to the stadium, which is filled with heroes and civilians from all over the world who came to watch the event, and other classes, you know, coming out of their waiting rooms as well. And President Mike then announces them coming out, while accompanied by Izawa while he's in his booth. And Midnight then calls Deku up for a speech, and he goes up, you know, all eyes are on him, and he clears his throat saying, I don't really have much to say, but I'm aiming for number one. As arrogant as that might sound, coming from me, I think we're all... I don't really have much to say, but I'm aiming for number one. As arrogant as that sounds coming from me, I know we're all thinking it, so... yeah. Good luck. He then heads down the podium and everyone claps because he simply said what he wanted to, you know, no fear. But now all eyes are on him since he announced that, you know, he was going to get the number one spot because, you know, everyone's just going to, of course they're going to get riled up by that. So Midnight then spins the roulette and an obstacle race is picked first, and the test gate would be open inside the stadium, and the students gather around it and they're told to wait for the light above to shine green and then they can go. So they wait and wait and wait until it hits green and they all rush in. But as soon as they do, the hallway is flash frozen as Todoroki then runs out from the other side, leaving everyone stuck in ice. I'm also aiming for number one, Midoriya, Todoroki would think, as however quickly all of 1A breaks out of the ice in an instant, and Todoroki looks back just for a moment and he's passed by Deku and Bakugo. They got out already, he would think, as Todoroki then looks forward and he jumps and lands gliding on his ice, you know, chasing after Bakugo and Deku. And back in the stadium, everyone is wild by the skills of these kids, and they'll be saying, that Midoriya kid's pretty good. Nah, I like the ice one, you know. And one person would say, well, the explosions one is relentless. Going up against him will be hard. And President Mike then says that Deku was in the lead as we cut to Deku gliding on his new way. And he tells it to speed up, and it does, blasting away from Bakugo, who then speeds up even more. And by the way, the new way, which is basically just the bird that, you know, Megumi uses rockets on his, like, kind of artificial legs. It's not really his wings powering, but it does help it maneuver. And Bakugo would then say, like I said, I've been training to Deku. But as, you know, the new way speeds up, Bakugo then speeds up even more, catching up. And he would say, like I said, I've been training to Deku. And Deku would say, what the hell is a Deku? Bakugo would then say, it's what you are. If I can't call you Mechamru, then you have to deal with that. And Deku says that's fine, as he then continues on, and soon he and Bakugo come across a zero-pointer, and Todoroki takes care of it by flash freezing it. So they just go on ahead, and the spectators are just shot by Todoroki's skill. The robot then falls down at some people, but they're fine and keep moving forward. And all of Class 1A is actually dominating right now. And while, you know, what's it called, after everything is done, like, you know, well, everything else is done, Deku just simply reaches the pit and just flies over it. And, you know, he would say, damn, I can't even see the bottom. How are those two doing? He then looks back to see that they're keeping up, but they can't catch up to him, so he increases his pace even more. And after that, Deku just flies over everything and ends up coming in first place as he re-enters the stadium and lands down from New Way. And he would say, oh, okay, we're good, you can rest. The bird then disappears into nothing as Deku then waves to the roaring crowd, and they'll be saying, you know, good going, you know, that was a pretty good show. And Deku then looks to his right, seeing Bakugo and Todoroki racing over, and they both ride up at the same time before then slamming into the ground and quickly getting up. And they would yell, who won? They then look to the scoreboard and see that they tied, and Bakugo would say, damn it, hey, stop getting in my way, icy hot. Todoroki, however, ignores him as he realizes that he's freezing over already, and he's kind of annoyed, and he already has used too much power. And Deku then looks over asking if he's good, and he says nothing as he walks off. What's his deal, Deku would think. So the others arrive, and only a few of them are left, of course, including, of course, all of 1A, who are placed much higher than before. Then the next test is the cavalry battle, but unfortunately for Deku, who has 10 million points, everyone is eyeing him and not many want to partner up with him. And he would then say, Miss Midnight? Yes, Midoriya, got something to say? Deku then says, can I work alone, or is that against the rules? The students are surprised by his, you know, question and decision, and, you know, they would be thinking, does he think we're that easy to beat? You know, they're obviously kind of mad, like kind of surprised as well, but interested as Midnight then says, considering the nature of his quirk, it's fine, but he should be ready for the consequences. And he nods as everyone then gets paired up into teams and start to gather people. And everyone then sees Deku summon stone humanoid puppets as he puts them in a formation and hops on them. This should be stable. Alright guys, lock in. Puppets then essentially connect themselves together, making it easier to keep the formation secure, and soon everyone gets on their, gets their own teams, and each person on the top of the formation wears headbands showing their points, and Todoroki realizes that Endeavor is here, and he would be thinking that he will absolutely not use his fire side. Ready? Start, President Mike would yell, as everyone then goes at Deku, of course, who, while expecting this, would have the formation jump up into the air, while he would be, trying to avoid everyone, and he is aimed at by, Jiro's jacks, like her ear jacks, but they are smacked away by one of the puppets, and he then lands and he's blasted at Bakugo, by Bakugo, but he activates shield mode, and the attack is blocked by a puppet, who just swings the shield that they created at Bakugo, who dodges, but he gets scratched. The attacks then come from all sides, including another blast from Bakugo and an ice throw from Todoroki, and every one of Deku's puppets just make a shield and slam it into the ground, and they grow and just expand and connect together and block the attacks and cause an explosion. As everyone waits in suspense, however, Ida, who was carrying Todoroki at the forefront, is then grabbed and pulled down, because they can't really see Deku yet. They're just kind of waiting for an attack, but this just happened, and he'll be saying, shit, he started getting serious. Everyone then who was attacking Deku starts to kind of fall apart, as they would just be kind of dismantled. And this is when out of the ground would pop out hound puppets, who then howl, and everyone just sees the smoke clear, showing Deku with the serious look on his face. Damn, how many of those can he make? Isn't his quirk way too OP? How is this fair? Deku then asks Midnight if it's okay to use this, and she says no problem with a devilish smile. And Deku would say, alright then. Chimera? Bakugo then says, shit, back away. Everyone, seeing how fast Bakugo's team is running away, starts to do so, but as they do, it's too late, as Deku finishes his words saying, Chimera formation. The ground then explodes, and out of it come out 20 more stone hounds that attack everyone, and they will be saying, what the hell, shouldn't he be getting a drawback by now? And everyone is just swarmed by these hounds and cannot even focus on attacking each other because they're trying to fend off these vicious things. And President Mike will be saying, whoa, Midoriya is not even letting up one person, or let one person get close to him, or continue. He's completely controlling the battlefield. Todoroki then says, I'm getting tired of this shit, as he would then yell, and he swipes at the hound like in front of him, freezing it, and waves a bunch of ice that goes at Deku, but Deku then reaches out his hand, and out of it forms a robot glove, and he would say, Albatros, and a ray of heat just shoots out, hitting the ice and easily melting through it before then ripping up the ground, and the team barely gets out of the way as the blast then, hits parts of the stadium, blowing it up. I'm starting to think maybe Midoriya works better when he's alone, Jiraiya would say, and Ida says it's like he's commanding an ever-present army. Let's give up on him. Bakugo then refuses to do this, but Ida says that if he looks down, he can literally see hands reaching for them, and it's kind of creepy, so they have no choice, and they take Ida's advice and give up, and the others do as well, and the rest of the test is just everyone staying clear of Deku, and those who try to get close to him are knocked out, and some have their headbands stolen, and soon the cavalry battle ends as Midnight then declares Deku wins, and Deku's puppets then dissipate as he lands down. That took a lot out of me. I hope we don't have to do long tests like these anymore. Ida then runs over to Deku saying he was formidable, and he says thanks, as President Might would then say first place is Izuku Midoriya, keeping all his 10 million points and gaining a few more. Applaud then starts to come in, and a lot of heroes are now definitely wanting Deku as their psychic, and Endeavor is also interested, but for different reasons. He then starts going back inside when he meets All Might, and Endeavor would say, what do you want, number one? I have a name, Endeavor then walks past him, and this is when All Might would ask Endeavor what he thinks of 1A, and Endeavor says they're not bad. Those two are standing out in terms of ability specifically. Oh yes, those three are standing out in terms of ability specifically, and All Might would say yes, they're very talented kids, aren't they? Endeavor then says, but once my Shoto uses his fire, no one will be able to stand in his way. I can promise you that. He then leaves with All Might saying he really has to lighten up more. How will the next test go? And will Deku win? Because he seems kind of exhausted right now. Tell me what you think down in the comments and find out more in the upcoming parts. It's been me, Prince of What Is, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can always know whenever I'm posting. And I hope you guys enjoyed this part. And honestly, the first part did not get that many views, so depending on how many, actually, if you guys can get this up to 300 likes in 3 to 2 days, or 3 to 2 days, then I might continue it. If you can't, then I'll have to stop the series and do something else, because if gotta give it a bit of attention, guys. Come on, we're almost at like 18K. There should be way more people watching. So please, give some attention to it. And if it's not fun, you can just tell me, and I'll just, make something else. I have like a bunch of them stored up. But yeah, I would like to finish this. I really want to. This series is gonna get better and better because I'm gonna be revealing more parts of Deku that you never kind of realized, that I've kind of hinted at. So it's gonna be pretty fun. All right, I'm gonna end it here. Stay safe. Goodbye.